Hey everyone, it's Ryan here. So we've just literally finished watching Survivor Series 2020, finished about 20 minutes ago. Um, so, I'm basically doing this reactions video. Apologies for the hair, it's just bad hair. I ran some water through it and it's not fixing itself. Anyway, there were 7 matches tonight for Survivor Series. The pre-show was a battle royal, and then you had 6 matches on the main card. So the pre-show battle royal, I originally did put Big E to win the battle royal, but then he wasn't in it. So the person in charge of the predictions that we're doing our Cultaholic group decided that you can either pick a brand, or if you want, you can be a bit more specific. There's not really a bonus point for it. I went with Elias to win. I didn't think The Miz was going to win because he's Money in the Bank holder now, and when you're the Money in the Bank holder, you just tend not to win. I believe John Morrison got thrown out straight away. There's a brilliant moment between Ray and Kalisto, just showing off their lucha skills. The final four comes down to Miz, Dominic Mysterio, Jeff Hardy, and Chad Gable. Chad gets Jeff Hardy out the ring shortly afterwards. Dominic just about gets Miz out the ring. He throws him over the top. He's dangling, and then he goes back to basically do like the baseball drop kick. But before he does, Miz rolls back in the ring, then gets kicked out, so he's not eliminated. And for me, that signaled he was going to win because he's done that 2 times before. I think he's done it 3 times before in general, but 2 times has worked. Because I remember he tried to do one against Christian at, I think, Over the Limit 2012 in a Battle Royal, which basically Christian managed to outsmart him and actually win. So it comes down to Dominic and Chad Gable, and they're having like a really good 5-minute match between them. I really hope there's Dominic versus Chad Gable on SmackDown at some point down the line. Eventually, Dominic does get Chad out of the ring, and then Miz comes in and throws Dominic out from behind to then win the Battle Royal. A win for Raw to start with. And then we go on to the first match of the night, which is the men's Survivor Series team. You've got Team Raw, which is AJ Styles, Sheamus, Braun Strowman, Keith Lee, and Matt Riddle, or just Riddle now, versus Team SmackDown, Jey Uso, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, Baron Corbin, and Otis. The story going into this is Raw just does not get along at all. They're not convinced that AJ Styles is their captain. They're all disagreeing about who should and shouldn't be on the team. And literally in the build-up, they've been beating the hell out of each other, like literally having matches with each other. And I think this was like the only match of the night where I was sort of disappointed with the result, or like not like just the result itself, but sort of like just the way they went about. They gave them a shutout victory, so they eliminated everyone without anyone going out on Raw. And for a team to get a shutout victory, for that whole thing to be, oh, we just don't get along, just seems a bit too much for me. Like, if there's 1 or 2 eliminations, then fine. Play into that they don't get along, but don't give them a shutout victory, especially against a very solid team that they had on SmackDown as well. Seth Rollins immediately just wants nothing to do with it. He's hesitant to get in the ring, tags himself in, and then gets down on his knees and basically tells Sheamus to do your part. So Bro kicks him, pins him, and that's Seth gone. And then they eliminate Kevin Owens next. He hits a stunner on everyone, and then AJ hits a phenomenal forearm to then get him out. I believe Baron Corbin goes after that. Or it might have been Baron Corbin first, I can't remember, but I just know that it was Baron Corbin, then Kevin Owens. It came down to Jey Uso and Otis. Otis eventually gets eliminated by, I think Braun Strowman eliminates him with a running power slam. And then it comes down to Jey by himself. He has a valiant effort against all 5 of them, but eventually the numbers catch up on him. There's a bit where he attacks AJ Styles. Keith Lee sneakily tags himself in. AJ gets hit with a super kick. And then as Jey goes for a splash, Keith Lee catches him in the air, then hits the spirit bomb on him for the win. So yeah, a clean sweep. I think it would have been fine if Braun or Sheamus were eliminated, but I just feel the clean sweep was a bit too much, especially for that team. I believe the last time, I can't remember the last time they did it properly, but one of the times I remember most is DX, the Hardys, and Punk versus Rated RKO, Mike Knox, and 2 other people. I think it was Miz and John Morrison were on the other team. But like that sort of made sense because you had two solid tag teams, and then you had the up and comer CM Punk, where this is literally the whole storyline has been we don't get along, we're doing this, and they're literally fighting each other in the build up to it. Whereas like the SmackDown superstars kind of just like didn't do anything with each other. They just won their qualifying matches and then just waited for the show. But yeah, like my personal opinion, the shutout victory is a bit too much for it. But that's another point to Raw, so they're 2-0 up. Next match is the Street Profits versus the New Day. The New Day come out in their Gears 5 attire because they've recently become DLC for the Gears 5 game. And I love the outfits they got. Like they have on because I enjoy Gears 5 and I enjoy their costumes in that game. Big E comes out with them, like I guess just to be a belt holder and also to show off his Gears attire. Street Profits then do this massive like 2-minute promo or so back like in gorilla position, and they come out, and then in that time Big E's just gone. He's not even in their corner anymore. This was a really good match, probably one of my favorites of the night. Like just very solid tag action between them. It starts off friendly and then New Day get a bit more aggressive, so it sort of feels like they were hinting at a heel turn for a bit. They're just targeting the Ribs and Montez Ford. At one point, I believe they were going to go for Midnight Hour, but then New Day stopped them. At one point, Montez hits Trouble in Paradise on Kofi, and then Xavier Woods does a military press buster, but then Montez still kicks out. The ending is, I think it's an electric chair and bulldog combo. So he's got him in the electric chair. So I think it's like the Steiner recliner. No, the Steiner recliner is the signature. The double team from the Steiners. I think that's the move they do. And eventually they pick up the win. So Street Profits beat the New Day. There's a show of respect at the end. Yeah, like I said, this was a really good match. It feels a bit of a shame that they're on different brands, because I would love to see, similar to the Usos and the New Day, if Street Profits just kept one-upping themselves in each match. That could definitely be a rivalry of the year. But yeah, like I said, a really good match. Next match, Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn, the US champion versus Intercontinental champion. The Hurt Business are on the outside of the ring, and Sami Zayn the whole time is just berating them, trying to get them to essentially hit him, get him DQ'd. It's basically not working. He gets some attack on Bobby Lashley, which is pretty good. At one bit, he gets picked up by Bobby Lashley on the outside of the ring, and then he pushes him into the ring post. He's hoping to get the count out, but Bobby Lashley rolls back in. At one point, eventually, Sami Zayn gets back out the ring, goes to walk away, and then trips over MVP's foot and tries to convince the referee that MVP tripped him, so it should be a disqualification. But whilst that's happening, Bobby Lashley is trying to get out the ring and the ref's trying to stop him. So in that time, MVP picks him up, throws him in the ring to then get hit with, I think he gets put into the full Nelson. I think it's called the Hurt Lock. So Sami Zayn taps out. So that's how Bobby Lashley wins. So it's another win for Raw. So it's 3-1 to Raw. Sami Zayn's complaining to commentary and the referee about the whole MVP situation, how he's being treated unfairly and there's a conspiracy against him and all this stuff. Really great work by Sami. Like a very good match for what it was. I think this was the one people had the least interest in, just because obviously there's been no confrontation really between them. Next match, Sasha Banks versus Asuka. Raw Women's Champion versus SmackDown Women's Champion. Well, Sasha being SmackDown, Asuka being Raw. Again, a very solid match, very technical match between them, both trying to hit their submissions on each other, hitting other moves. At one point, Sasha gets Asuka out of the ring, and then she essentially sits on the rope and like tells her to come back in the ring, and then that doesn't work, and then Asuka gets Sasha out of the ring and does the same thing. The end is a series of pinfalls, which will get reversed, and then eventually Sasha gets her own pin in to win the match. I still can't tell if Sasha's a heel or not. I think she's meant to be a heel because the way she's acting is a bit egotistical. I get that's just her character, but I don't know if I'm sure if she was being a face, she would do the same thing, just smile a bit more. But win for Sasha. There's two moments where they said first time ever on commentary. There was when she came out. It was the first time ever she defended a title after winning it, which was on SmackDown a week before last. And then the first time ever she's beat Asuka. And then we were kind of expecting Carmella to come out at some point because for the past 3 weeks, Carmella's just been attacking Sasha from behind, but literally no show of Sasha. I sort of compared it to Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke in 2018 when Dean turned heel, like the same night when Roman announced his leukemia, and then there was a whole Dean's just going to keep going after Seth until he loses his title, essentially. And then they have the match at Survivor Series, and Dean just decides he doesn't want any part of it for some reason. So it's sort of a similar in that sense where Seth won that match, Sasha won this one because Carmella didn't get involved. But yeah, I think they're setting up Sasha versus Carmella. For Asuka, I don't know who's next. Maybe Lana, because she can say, well, I'll get into it later on and then I'll go back into it. Well, speaking of which, the next match is the is the Women's Survivor Series match. You got Team Raw, Nia Jax, Shayna Baszler, Peyton Royce and Lacey Evans and Lana. They had this backstage thing where like all the SmackDown women are talking to each other, all huddled up, and then they got all the Raw women, but Lana's stood by herself, just out the crowd, and Nia's just giving her essentially just trash talking, basically just being the bully again, which is kind of ironic considering 2 years ago they forced her to do the Be a Star campaign, where she overcame the bully that was Alexa Bliss, and then it turns out she was the bully all along, I guess. In this one is literally, they tell Lana to stand on the steel steps and do nothing, and that's what she does for a majority of the match. It's literally 23 minutes, and for about 20 minutes of it, it's just Lana stood on the steel steps. So with this one, I believe the first person eliminated is Bayley, which was a bit of a shock. She gets eliminated by Peyton Royce, who then gets eliminated a minute later by, I believe, Natalya. And then Natalya gets eliminated a minute later by Carmella. Not Carmella, sorry. I don't know why I said Carmella. Because they're all wearing red and Carmella now wears red, so I was confused. Natalya gets eliminated by Lacey Evans. Lacey Evans then gets eliminated by Bianca Belair, I believe. Maybe even Ruby Riott or Liv Morgan, eliminates Lacey Evans. She does the crucifix bomb, I think it is. Nia Jax then comes in the ring and literally just takes care of Ruby and Liv. It comes down to 3-on-1. I pointed out to my friends when we were watching it together, it's what's sort of known as like the Shawn Michaels Survivor Series moment, where they're put down to a 3-on-1 situation, and then they come back to make it 1-1, only to not win in the end. And the way this happens is, Ruby Riott got eliminated by Shayna Baszler because there was a moment where she was being choked out in the Kurafina, the clutch that she has. I forgot what it's called. Kirafora clutch or something like that. Kirafuna clutch. Basically the sleeper hold. Ruby Riott reverses into a pin, but the referee's distracted, and in that time, Ruby passes out from the chokehold. So then Shayna pins her, and that's how she's eliminated. I believe Nia eliminates Liv Morgan with a Samoan drop. It comes down to Bianca Belair, who manages to eliminate Shayna. And then Nia gets thrown outside the ring. Bianca gets pulled out, almost put through the table. They just keep teasing it, doesn't work. And they're beating each other up along the side of the ring. And then they're both counted out. Bianca Belair gets in the half second too late. And then because Nia and Bianca are both counted out, there's only one person left, and it's Lana. So then she goes and celebrates like she's won everything. She did it all herself. And they keep cutting to Nia all the time, and she's just got this look of like, I'm going to beat the crap out of you type thing. So expect to go through the table again on Raw, because surprisingly she didn't tonight. I'm talking too much. I believe maybe Lana will go after the title next, because she can claim that because she was a sole survivor, she deserves something, I guess. But I feel like it's just going to be more of Lana getting put through the table by Nia. I thought the payoff would have been Lana would put Nia through the table and then Nia gets counted out, but who knows. Then finally, we have Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre, the Universal Champion versus WWE Champion. This was probably match of the night or a close second. It's difficult between this and the New Day and Street Profits for me. Just a lot of hard hitting again. Drew obviously hitting like Future Shock DDT, like his old finisher move. Hits him with a Claymore. Hits him with a headbutt, stuff like that. Roman's got like Superman Punch, Spear, all this stuff. The end comes when he spears him through the barricade on the outside, and then he puts him in the ring. Drew still kicks out. At one point, Drew hits the Claymore. Roman then falls into the ref. Ref takes a bump outside the ring. Jey Uso then comes out and essentially helps Roman win. Hits him with a super kick. So there's a Superman punch, then a super kick, then a spear, and then Jey sort of rolls out the ring, and then he puts his sleeper hold on him, the guillotine choke, and Drew passes out. So he doesn't tap out, he passes out. So it keeps him, like, if there's any ideal way for it to happen to keep both of them strong, that's the way to do it. A few of us were expecting Miz would probably cash in on Drew because he would be unconscious, but Miz never came out. Roman, well, after the Survivor Series tag match, Roman basically told Jimmy and Jay to leave because basically they're losers and they don't deserve their spot on the table. But basically after Jay sort of helped him then, he sort of hugged him and embraced him. So it sort of feels like he's like back at the table, I guess. And then finally we have the Undertaker's farewell. It was confusing in a way because they basically had everyone come out that was sort of associated with him in a way. And the first person was Shane McMahon. They had Shane McMahon. They had Kevin Nash, Big Show. Like, I'm not doing it in order. I'm just trying to remember who was there. Shane McMahon, Big Show, Kevin Nash, Mick Foley, the Godwins, Godfather, Kane came out in his wrestling attire for some reason. Shawn Michaels, Triple H. Trying to think who else there was. Ric Flair. JBL was there. Booker T was there. There was about like 20 people in the ring, and I thought they were trying to do the whole, like, surely if you're trying to like implement the restrictions of, like, with COVID and everything, don't have a bunch of old people in the ring right near each other. And then they do this like tribute package of Undertaker, and surprise, surprise, Metallica's playing in the background. And then after that, everyone's gone from the ring, and it's just Vince McMahon. And basically talks about how for 30 years, The Undertaker's been in the ring and basically selling out arenas and all this stuff. And he gets like emotional about it. I think he name drops WWF at some point, because obviously it used to be WWF before it was WWE. And then eventually The Undertaker comes out. It takes like 5 or 10 minutes or so, and then he literally talks for like 2 minutes, I think, where he's like, for 30 years I've been doing this, and finally I can put to an end, and now I'm going to let The Undertaker rest in peace. And then lights go out. He kneels down on one knee like he used to, and then they have like the pallbearer sound bite, and then the image of him on the Titantron. And then after about another 2 minutes, he then slowly walks away. Signature card comes up, and then that's it. So this should be the retirement of The Undertaker. It's been, like I said, 30 years, pretty much almost to the day, I think. Like, it was Survivor Series 1990, but I'm not sure if that was November 22nd as well. So it's a fitting way, I guess, to go out for The Undertaker. Probably not his most ideal one. I think he sort of wanted to go out like maybe after 33, like that could have been the original losing the streak. That could have been Roman's original heel turn. But he said himself, like, it didn't feel like the perfect ending for him. He wanted the perfect ending. But yeah, so that's the end of the show. Undertaker basically announces retirement. The Undertaker's basically going away. And yeah, that's it. Overall, a very solid show. Like I said, there was a lot of good matches in there. The Survivor Series tag matches were all right. Like I said, I didn't agree with the result for the first one. I would have been fine with the Raw team winning, but just the fact it was a shutout just didn't sit well with me. Bobby Lashley and Sami Zayn was good for what it was. Street Profits and New Day was amazing. Asuka and Sasha was great. Roman and Drew was amazing. Then yeah, you get the emotional Undertaker retirement as well. So the predictions I had, like I said, so with the Battle Royal, I originally had Big E, but it didn't show up. So I picked Elias, but basically he's technically a Raw superstar, so I get the point for a Raw superstar. The men's tag match, I had SmackDown because I was thinking with them not getting along, it would cost them in the end. Turns out it didn't, quite the opposite. For Street Profits versus New Day, I had Street Profits because New Day don't really gain anything from winning. whereas Street Profits can have that credibility of we've beat the 10-time tag champs, the New Day. Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn, I had Bobby Lashley because he's much bigger, and I thought Sami Zayn would try and be a cowardice and it wouldn't work, and then Bobby Lashley would get his hands on him and then beat him that way. For Sasha Banks and Asuka, I did have Asuka. I thought Carmella would get involved. Turns out she didn't, so Sasha won. The Women's Survivor Series, I did have Team Raw and I did have Lana as the sole survivor, and I was right about that, but I'm sure a lot of people have the same thought, but probably didn't think it would be the way it was. The last thing similar to that I remember is there's like an all-out brawl in the ring. This is like 1990, 1991, I think. And basically everyone that's in the ring gets disqualified, and the only person that doesn't is Ric Flair. So Ric Flair is the sole survivor because he just didn't get disqualified. And then finally, Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. I did have Roman Reigns because it would feel odd if Roman lost now. And Drew can take a loss, especially in the form that he did, because it doesn't really damage him. So I managed to get 5 out of 7, which for our predictions, I've got the most tied with someone else. So therefore, I know it's the UK title, but basically I'm using this as the prop for my Cultaholic Predictions title. So I get to defend this in 2 weeks at NXT War Games 4, I believe, which should hopefully be a very exciting show. I don't know how many matches are announced for the card. I think it's going to be... they've already got Undisputed Era versus Pat McAfee, Oney Lorcan, Danny Burch, and Pete Dunne. And I think they're doing Leon Ruff defending the North American title against Damian Priest and Johnny Gargano. We may get Shotzi. I think there's going to be Team Shotzi versus Team Candice at War Games. I'm not sure. And then... well, the tag titles won't be on the line because the tag champs are Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. It'll probably be Finn Balor versus someone else. I don't know who they're building up for him yet. I can't remember who they teased for it, but I guess we'll see. I need to catch up on NXT and then see what happens with that. But yeah, that was Survivor Series. Like I said, a really great show. I am back to being the Cultaholic Predictions champion. How long for? I do not know. Thank you for watching this reactions video. Do let me know what your reactions to Survivor Series 2020 are. And this will probably go up in the morning because I'm going to be up for a couple more hours and I'll upload it before I go to sleep. And then I'll share it when I wake up. So if you don't see it straight away, then that's why. But yeah, again, thank you very much for watching this video, and I shall hopefully see you in the next one. Right, bye.